Hi, it's Friday again, so we're gonna bring you a new episode on Kung Fu Legends by James Pax, and look what I'm wearing. We finally got our Shaolin Warrior 7 poster out, and I put the poster right on my t-shirt, and we're ready for sale. Okay, so you can get on our website, www.hotlivesmall.net, right, Jenny?
Yes.
hotlivesmall.net. You can find it, or you can go on the Lightning fan chat room, and you will find all the information there. Okay, so let me sit down and tell you about what we're gonna do on this episode. All right. Oh, nice comfy chair here. Yeah, last episode I talked about how I auditioned for John Carpenter and what I had to do to get this part, a silent part playing the lightning. But the movie was so great and became a cult movie. That's why I have so many fans around the world. I just counted it. I think there are probably close to 5 million or more fans around the world, that are still regularly talking about it and even watching it at least once a week or once a month. So, that's what I've been told. And how much the movie really affected their life, accompanying them through their difficult childhood or even for their parents, and how it really bring the family together. That's what I really was touched to hear that. And I'm blessed to have played a part in it, of course. But in this episode, I will be talking about many things. Yes, back to about Bruce, how he really elevated the Chinese image to a much, much higher level to the international audience, so that they know that Chinese are not just, little guys, comparing to size-wise, but they're intelligent. But on top of being intelligent, they can be very physical. Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do, whatever that you have learned or about, it all came from Mr. Bruce. None other than Bruce Lee. And I have great respect for this man because he really did a great deal of respect for the Chinese race. I must say that. Yeah, besides that, I will be telling you the story how I got 2 commercials in Hollywood in the same week. And what are they? Well, you got to watch this episode. It's coming right up, right? And also various TV series and movies I did in Hollywood, working with fantastic superstars like Charles Bronson, Chuck Norris, a couple of young actors. What was that? Nasty Boys, that's right. How I got the part for Nasty Boys. I truly enjoyed it. And the difference of working in Hollywood and in Hong Kong, there's a great difference, right? And also how I became a model, and also after I went to Japan and made my claim to fame of doing Japanese movies and TV series as series regular, I was invited by Giorgio Armani. I believe most of people knows who Giorgio Armani is, even if you're not Italian. Giorgio, back in the 80s and 90s, were the youngest and the hottest Italian designer, besides Valentino, and all these other people. But Giorgio was definitely, in the top 3. Gianni Versace, of course, is the other one, whom I also respect. But let's talk about Giorgio. Giorgio invited me to attend his, I cannot remember which year, winter collection runway show. So I arrived there, with very little suitcase. I don't know what I have to do, although I've done runway show, but I don't know how it is like to do the Milan runway show. But anyway, during the fitting, he said, I looked at all the shoes that they showed me, and it all says 10, 12, 14 size. I said, sorry, Giorgio, my feet is rather small, and I only take number 9. and I don't think you have any shoes here that can fit me. But he said, well, you got to wear mine. So that's what happened, and it became a headline. So that would be one interesting thing I'll be talking about. And also how ballet came into my life and how I relate ballet to Kung Fu. Yeah. Amazing. I had an amazing life, you know, an amazing 25 years of career working as an actor in Hollywood and in Asia. But here it is. Ta-da! It's coming. Boom!
Everybody around the world just knows him as Bruce. You don't have to say Bruce Lee. You say Bruce, people are going to say, you mean Bruce Lee, don't you? Which is incredible. It speaks volumes. Yeah, yeah. He was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely
he is
fantastic.
An inspirator to me in terms of my Kung Fu. Later, I'll tell you my inspirator for my acting career. Who is my inspirator?
James, you lived quite a while in New York, didn't you? And you, as you said earlier,
I grew up there.
You did some of the off-Broadway shows, I believe, as well.
Yes.
And you also presumably sort of worked sort of some small-time jobs to pay, presumably, for your tuition in acting. And that led, I think, you then into working with some of the Hong Kong, well, not just the Hong Kong, that came later, but with the American greats like Chuck Norris. You were in Invasion USA with him, weren't you?
Yes.
That must have been quite an experience as well.
Yes, that was also a great project. We shot it in Georgia. Yeah, I think it is Georgia, in the swamp actually, because we were always on the swamp, you know, machine. Amazing. That was a great experience. You know, Georgia is a beautiful city, and the swamp was amazing. You know, crocodiles crawling all over, and we are sitting on the swamp, you know, through those swamps. It was amazing, totally amazing.
How was Chuck Norris? Did you get to meet him, to chat with him?
He's a very down-to-earth kind of a guy. You know, I never expected that he was so down-to-earth. Very down-to-earth, very nice guy. Easy to talk to. A little reserved to himself, but he's a very, very down-to-earth kind of guy.
Good. Good. That's good to hear, isn't it? Again, because, I mean, as you know, he appeared in the film with Bruce Lee, and Bruce asked for him to appear on screen and fight him. And I think that Chuck famously said, well, but will you allow me to be able to fight against you rather than you just beat me? And of course he conceded, although of course he was always going to win for us. But it was a wonderful experience in the Colosseum. And of course you yourself were in Italy. You were in Milan on the catwalks, weren't you?
Yes.
The first Asian person to be as a male model on the catwalks in Milan. Is that true?
It's not the first Asian, but the first
Chinese gentleman.
Chinese.
Yeah.
Before me, there were a lot of Japanese, because Japanese models were already all over in Milan and in Paris, because Japan, you remember back in the 90s, the economy was amazing. Yeah. So all these top European designers' clothing was selling crazy in Japan. Therefore, they had to use Japanese models. But back then, you know, Hong Kong was still not quite not open up yet. And there were never any Chinese models in the catwalk in Europe. Yeah. I just finished doing films in Hong Kong, and then I went straight to Japan and starred in a movie which was called Harimau. That's in Japanese, of course. And I was the second lead, playing next to the local lead. And then I did another TV series there as, again, groundbreaking. Again, I was the first Asian American actor to be in a Japanese movie playing leads and in the TV. You know, I did a lot of groundbreaking things like Bruce Lee, but I'm just James. I'm not Bruce. So after that, I will happen to be in Italy with my girlfriend, you know, having fun. And one of my friends was an Italian guy. He knows Armani very well. He said, James, you're so famous, you know, you're Big Trouble and everything. You know, you ought to be working with Armani. I said, well, I don't know him, but if you want to send him my portfolio, here's my portfolio. Yeah, you know, show him. If he's interested, sure, I'm already here. He saw my portfolio, he immediately said, please bring James in. I want to talk to him. the amazing thing is, I mean, I had all these wonderful luck with things, right?
Sure.
I mean, Armani back then, after the movie with Richard Gere, remember? He did all the costume for Richard Gere's American Gigolo. Yeah. Boom! Armani's name was all over the world. Before that, nobody knew him except in Italy. But after American Gigolo, everybody knows Armani. Everybody model want to work with Armani. So James is there. They say, please bring him. We want to talk to him. So he personally suited me, because we had to do fitting and all that. And then he said, oh, your feet looks kind of small. I said, yes, my feet is 43. I'm not the Western size. It was 8 or 9, and the Western size was like 10, 12. Their feet is 50% bigger than mine. I said, well, he said, well, there's nothing can fit you. I said, well, what, should I wear my shoes? He said, no, try mine. Will you? I said, okay, sure. Because he said, my feet is the same as your size. Try my shoes. The next thing, big headline, because the next day was Armani show. So they put a big headline. Armani used, they call it a Japanese model star, James Pax. He fit his own shoes on James' feet. That was the biggest caption for that day's news. And that's my encounter with Armani. It was wonderful, actually.
How did you enjoy the experience of being in Europe, and how were you received? Were you treated well? Was it a good time?
I was lucky, to have a British father and a Chinese mother. They met in Hong Kong many, many years ago. So I was born with a, pretty okay face, and I was a skinny kid. But because I trained myself into Kung Fu, so I began to gain a lot of muscles. That's why when I was 17 already, I was already doing amateur modeling in New York, anything from milk commercial to Old Spice, yes, shave cream or whatever, Old Spice, I still remember.
It's still
I did two commercial, I got 2 commercial offers on the same week, wow. To do the milk and to do the Old Spice, and I was the leading man in it. Again, that was groundbreaking. They never used an Asian man for milk commercial or for Old Spice, and again, I did that. That's how I started with my modeling career. I was a model to begin with. Yeah. Why at that time? Prior to that, since I was a teenager, I was already doing my Kung Fu. Then when I was 17, I started learning ballet, which nobody knows. Again, my inspirator of ballet was Nureyev, if you remember, the Russian great.
Yeah.
Amazing. One time I went to, I can't remember which theater. I saw, first time ever, I went to see a real ballet show, and that was Nureyev. The moment he stepped onto the stage, there was another 50 girls surrounding him. I think it was Swan Lake or something.
Wow.
My eyes couldn't take away from him. Even though there are another 50 girls around him, I said, this is Bruce in ballet shoes.
I was just thinking of Bruce Lee of ballet, yeah.
Exactly. I said, my God, this is Bruce, my inspirator in ballet shoes. I said, I wanted to know what ballet is all about. Next day, I went to the ballet school and started training myself. So I became a ballet dancer. And soon after, I learned jazz in New York. Wow. And so I did the Kung Fu, and then I went straight into ballet. I trained 4 years in ballet. Then I became a guest principal in the Hong Kong Royal Ballet. And I did several back then. MTVs for all these famous stars. I was, again, the only Asian male dancers, for all these MTVs. That was my great experience again in dance. So
you've had an incredible, from such a young age, James. It was just so fulfilling, so wonderful. You've just achieved so much in a very short period of time, and you're still such a young guy as well. You've done brilliantly well.
You know what? I always tell myself, I said, Bruce could have done what he had done. I said, James could do maybe half as much, and I'm happy. So in everything I do, whether as a model, whether as a dancer, whether as a kung fu artist, whether as a director now, a producer, and a screenwriter, I said, I got to put forth my 300% of my ability and grind my brain juice out to make it happen. Yeah. You know why? Because I'm a very modest man. You know, I watch a lot of TV sometimes. You see a lot of, these unfortunate people in South Africa, the children, or these, people without arms in China, even you see them. You know, one time I was, when I first came to China, I went to a Chinese market and I saw this young man. Was totally moving. I mean, his arm, he had, I don't know what this disease, his arm was like this. Yeah. And then he was sitting on top of the shelf, fixing a watch with his toes.
Yeah, yeah.
I say, my God, if a man is so disfortunate and yet he still wants to live and survive and do what he can do, we human beings with healthy body and mind should do better. That's why yeah. I always do the best I can in whatever I feel that I want to accomplish or to excel on, and also to help others. You know, among all the years I was in Hollywood, I must have helped at least 20 actors. Mark Dacascos, I don't know if you know him. He was my younger brother.
He's brilliant. I mean, Leo loves Mark Dacascos. I mean, he's fantastic.
I'm a big fan.
We used to train together. He was my gymnastic teacher because I never did gymnastics. I was a kung fu, and he was also a kung fu man because his father was famous. His father was a famous kung fu guy. He trained in China for a period of a couple of months. So that's where we, bonded together. I know his family very well. And then we train on regular basis, once a week or twice a week. He would teach me tumbling. And that's how close we were. And then when I met him in Los Angeles, while I was doing the Big Trouble. He came and visited me. And then one time I was doing, after that, I was offered to do Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
And I was already kind of a successful Asian actor. And he was struggling. He was wonderful looking young man, such a beautiful face, an incredible physique. And he does tumbling, he does all these fights. He was working at the Universal Studio as one of the stuntmen. Universal Studio, they had all these stunt shows, falling off the cliff, diving into the water. He was one of the guys. I said, Mark, I think you ought to think about maybe make yourself as an actor so you can make more money and you have a longer career. Otherwise, if someday you fall off the cliff and you're injured, what happened if you can't work anymore? I said, let me help you. So I tell my producer, I said, you know what, tomorrow there's a scene of, motorcycling. You know what, I'm not so good at it. Can I bring in a stunt guy who can ride a motorcycle for me? They said, sure, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you feel safe, go ahead. Okay, I said, I got a great guy here. Mark's my brother. So Mark came in and doubled me to ride a motorcycle for me. Then after that, I said, now you can go and apply as a guild member. Unless you're a guild member, you cannot participate in any of these Hollywood TV series or movies. So unless you have gotten a job in a TV or a movie like this, which is studio approved, you will never get into the guild. So because I gave him that first job, he was able to get in the guild, and then his career just multiplied. Of course, he did very well.
That's a fantastic book.
Along with many other Asian actors, that came along the way that I felt I could help. I always help them along.
he's a great guy. That's a wonderful story. You touched on Nasty Boys. I know that Leo's dying to ask you about Nasty Boys, and we both want to know more about that. So back to Leo.
Yeah, so you mentioned the Nasty Boys, and obviously TV work, and that was it. It was actually an episode of Tour of Duty that obviously I kind of recognise you from as well. This is obviously how we first ended up kind of communicating. But Nasty Boys here in the UK, I don't ever think was actually released as a series. But we did have what used to happen in the UK. They used to package US series as films here, and they used to kind of like put them out as kind of films. So we had Nasty Boys as a kind of a film, and then they had a few Nasty Boys 2, Nasty Boys 3. But obviously it was a series where you were one of the co-leads. But you've done a great many TV shows. As I've mentioned, Tour of Duty, which was an absolutely fantastic role. Season 1, episode 2, where you played an NBA doctor. And it's one of my favourite episodes, and one of the kind of like also great acting, I think, as well. But obviously you're in martial law, you MacGyver, Madlock, loads of kind of like TV. And I noticed you had a lot of you're in a lot of episodes with James Hong, obviously, who was also in,
James.
Big Trouble in Little China as well. So it was almost a bit like a little bit of a re-teaming of them. So obviously, tell us a little bit about your TV work, and obviously Nasty Boys, which was, I think, the 13 episodes plus the original kind of TV movie. What were your kind of favourite memories from those sort of TV work?
Well, I went back and did a little research of what I've done 30 years ago. Medlock, I remember a little bit of that. Nasty Boys, definitely a lot more on Nasty Boys. I was able to find a lot of footage, and definitely the one that you just mentioned, that I was playing a Vietnamese doctor, Tour of Duty. I love that role, actually. You know what? I was surprised that the director wanted me for that role. You know what? I was only 30-something, and that role was 55, but
you look superb in that role. You were fantastic. I watched a clip the other night from Leo. I was reduced to tears when what happened at the end with your character, and you were playing, as you say, an older gentleman with grey hair. You were fantastic in that role, John. It was superb. Loved it.
Well, I'm proud of it. I have to tell you that when I look at it today, I said to myself, James, you really did that? My God, you were a serious actor. But indeed I was. Like I said, everything I do, I said to myself, you either do the best or don't do it. So, when I was studying to be an actor, I was studying at the actor studio only for a short period of time, because soon after I moved to LA, of course. But I said, I want to be like Marlon Brando. I wanted to be like Robert De Niro, all these wonderful actors. And that's why when I got that role, I said, I got to change my body, because I had so much muscle. And I was a tall guy, 5'11". I said, I got to make myself look skinny. So if you notice that my whole body was like a hunchback, so that I can make myself look smaller. And then I changed my tone of voice, and hold my whole gesture. Yeah, I really work hard on that role. In acting, we call it a day of character living, a day of living in character. And that's what I did. I spent a whole day in that character, eating, cooking, and all of that, just to get myself into the mold. And that's how I prepare for my roles, just like many Hollywood actors.
Role, because he was obviously, it was only for one episode, but it's one of the few episodes that actually focused on a Vietnamese character. And the character that you play, who was a doctor, was obviously a pacifist, because he was a doctor. And one of the things I could have noticed, obviously, it was just a very kind of subtle kind of body acting. And the guy that you played seemed, just from obviously that one episode, like a gentle man, that sort of thing. And there's a scene where there's a Vietnamese general he orders you to kill the American soldier. Now we, as an English-speaking audience, don't know what he's saying, but obviously your reaction to it, it just speaks.
You know, that's his intention.
Yeah,
kill that son of a bitch there. Yes, that was definitely very good writing. I have to congratulate the writer on that show. Definitely. Character building was amazing. There was only a few scenes, I think only 4 scenes. And yet the bond between the GI and me, you know, was so amazing just in those 3 or 4 scenes. And then in the end, I got killed. It was definitely tear-jerking for me myself when I watch it again today.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll move on to Nasty Boys, because I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, because obviously it wasn't. I don't think it was released here as a series. But from what I understand, it was actually based on real police, set in Las Vegas, I believe, like an undercover kind of police series, which was kind of heavy on the action. And obviously, I think it was Jimmy Key was your character, I believe, if I remember rightly. But you know, it was a fun series. Sadly, only lasted the 13 episodes. But could you tell us about your experience on that?
Great experience. Great experience. You know, meeting all these young actor and also the leading actor. I cannot remember his name now.
Benjamin Bratt.
The older gentleman. No, not Benjamin Bratt. Benjamin Bratt was in the same class. The guy who played the sergeant, actually, the captain.
Dennis Franz.
Older actor. Dennis Franz, yes. He was a beautiful man. He's a very kind man and everything. And it was great memory, I have to say. Again, it was innovative, and why they made that series. Dick Wolf, which I have my respect for, it was the producer. He wrote it too. He actually wanted to create a more international series after Miami Vice was so successful. Recall Miami Vice only had 2 characters, 1 black and 1 white. So basically Dick Wolf created 5 characters with different racial backgrounds, which I think was a wonderful idea. And I think my character was actually based on Don Johnson's character and Bruce Lee together. So I'm always dressed in beautiful outfits, you know, and riding a ninja bike, and yet I have to do Bruce Lee's kung fu moves, you know, and scare everybody. It was definitely, again, innovative in terms of concept for a TV series, character-wise. Seize what you keep. That's the whole thing. You know, these cops were able to seize, and they keep it, you know. The drug dealers, cars, boats, or whatever, will keep it, and then we'll use it. That was part of the fun, actually. Yes, it was wonderful. Definitely, action was good. The first movie, they call it the pilot. That's how they call it. Usually, the first episode they call it a pilot was 2 hours. Was actually an hour and a half. It was directed by, I cannot remember his name, a feature film director, actually. It was very, very well done, I have to say. And the promo, you'll be amazed. The promo film was shot by, back then, was just a young film school graduate. I cannot recall his name, but you can help me out. He did the Pearl Harbor, the movie. He directed that. What's his name?
It's not Zack Snyder, was it? Pearl Harbor. Is it Jerry Bruckheimer?
Famous. No, not Cameron.
I'm just trying.
Anyway.
It wasn't Michael Mann, was that?
No, it wasn't Michael Mann. The
Michael
guy who
Bay,
did Pearl
Michael
Harbor.
Bay.
Michael Bay. Yes.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay back then was so young. He just graduated from college, and then he was directing commercials already, not feature film yet. And then he was invited to direct the promo for this. So you see this, he's very skinny and tall. He's like, 60mm camera, and he's the cameraman himself. And I recall that we were running. He said, "Okay, now you're gonna run from left to the right. Okay, just run." All right. And then you see him jerking his camera. He's going, ta, 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 ta. You know, was really, I mean, he's quite innovative. You could tell that the young man is quite innovative. And then he created the whole promo reel. I think it was like a 1 minute or 2 minute promo reel. But everywhere we go, even when we were just making it, fans came to us, you know, because 5 good-looking guys going everywhere, it's going to attract a lot of women. So wherever we go, we got loads of women ready to find out who we are, because we were all unknown, you know, pretty much unknown, actually. I mean, except I did Big Trouble already. And they will all come up and say, can you, give me a little autograph? I recall we went to one of this town, really like middle America, redneck area. And then a whole bunch of girls came up and they said, James, I love you. I said, who is it? A girl with beautiful body, of course. It comes up to me and say, James, can I give you a hug, give you a kiss? I say, of course. And then he said, can you do me a favor? Can you give me an autograph? I said, sure. Where do you want me to do it? You got a paper somewhere? He said, no. Just here's my felt pen. Just write it in front of my chest with you. Sure, why not? That was one memory I remember with dealing with these fans.
I bet you do.
Loads of fun.
You may have been a pioneer by being the first to do that, James, as well.
I have to say, maybe. I wish I have a picture with her, because she was beautiful and full of good energy.
You've also portrayed a very significant historical figure, and I know this is something you are very proud of, and that is the docudrama, The First Emperor. Now, I've yet to see this. I've actually ordered a copy of it, but unfortunately it didn't arrive before we got a chance to have this chat. But I know you're extremely proud of it, and I have seen a few clips and stuff. Obviously, a major historical figure. So it's quite the kudos, and just tell us a little bit about that.
That again is groundbreaking. By then, I just arrived in China. I actually moved into China in the year of 2000, and Nick Young was the British director. Came up to me and said, we're doing this wonderful project called The First Emperor, about Qin Shi Huang, which I know quite well. And, we'd like you to star in it. Are you willing to do it? I said, sure, why not? So I came on. He showed me the script, and we worked together on the script. Although I was not a great writer, but I contributed a lot of my idea in terms of character building, because that's what I believe in. The character needed to be built. So I suggested a couple of new scenes here and there, and he made the changes, and then we went on to make it happen. They shot it for about 2 months near Beijing, and then they went to Xi'an to do the tomb, the famous terracotta, because that was built by Qin Shi Huang, the emperor himself. I spent most of the time in the Beijing studio, indoor and outdoor. It was definitely groundbreaking. You know why? 40 years ago, I recall there was a movie, which you probably still remember, a movie called Last Emperor.
Yeah.
Directed by a wonderful Italian director. And $20 million budget, it did over $1 billion around the world in terms of the box office. And John Long starred in it. And actually, I was offered to play in that role, one of the role, and I was not available because I was doing another project, which I did not participate. But then soon after I saw that movie, I said to myself, why is it that there is not one Chinese director able to do a Chinese historical figure like the last emperor, Pu Yi, in English? Why does it always have to be in Chinese? Chinese is wonderful, but you're only serving the Chinese audience. Only a movie in English that will serve the international audience. And that's why The Last Emperor was so successful. So when Nick came up to me about this project, I said, this is wonderful. This will be groundbreaking, although it's just a docudrama, a smaller budget. But I said, this will be a project that I want to be involved and to make it known to the world that Chinese historical subjects can be done in English after the Last Emperor. So I actually lost 15 pounds for that show. It was a very difficult shoot. Summertime, sweaty, heavy costumes. You know, these Chinese costumes. I cannot imagine 1,000 years ago these Chinese people wearing that kind of clothing and walking around, or even wearing that kind of costume doing all the fighting. My God, I would never survive, and I couldn't survive. I had headaches and I had insomnia. Oh my God, I was sick right after that. So it was a very difficult shoot, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it, actually. I've seen a few clips, and obviously it looks like a lot of it was sort of set in desert areas and things like that. So I can imagine it was obviously, fairly sort of uncomfortable. I wonder if you've seen Disney's Mulan. You were talking about the sort of Chinese properties being made by American and having English speaking. That was the recent Disney film Mulan, which was shot in China, but obviously and based on a Chinese figure, but obviously spoken in English. I wonder if you had a chance to see that and what your thoughts are on it.
Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to see Mulan. But I have to tell you, they certainly picked the wrong lady to play that role.
I've heard that there's
why?
Controversy, yeah.
I had to badmouth any actor. But the fact is, I had the encounter with her a long time ago when I first came to China. They asked me to kind of read with her because I was considered for a Chinese TV series, which I never got the role. Instead, she got the role. Back then, she just came back from Los Angeles as a teenager, speak quite okay English. And we were doing the scene, and her brain was totally blank, and she was just reading the line. And soon after I follow her career, I really say, yeah, she's got a cute face, but you know what? She really doesn't know what acting is all about. I mean, Hollywood has so many wonderful actresses, you know, Japanese or Chinese. But why do they want to pick a girl from China? I mean, I'm nothing against Chinese, you know. The fact is she's not a good actress to begin with, really. I mean, she has no dynamic in her acting. So many wonderful Hollywood actors, maybe not as famous as her in China, but definitely more famous in Hollywood than her. Why do they want to pick her?
Yeah.
I think she definitely doomed the whole picture. But I can't say that because I never saw it, because I don't even want to saw it, because she was playing the lead in it.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
And I knew it wasn't going to be a good movie to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't know about the story, really. You know, I don't know. So.
Well, fair enough. Well, we're going to move on in a minute to some of what your future projects and what you're working on at the moment. But I just want to hand over to Paul to see if he's got any questions about obviously the rest of your work. So, Paul, have you got anything you want to ask?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. Lots to talk about. I think for the general audience that will be following this and enjoying it greatly, just maybe the traditional sort of shorter questions like a favorite director that's influenced you through your career and a favorite film.
I have many favorite films.
Good.
I actually gave some thoughts to it when you sent me the questionnaire first. I am a big fan of black and white era. Films from Jane Eyre to Waterfront, Streetcar Named Desire.
You really are a Marlon Brando fan.
Marlon Brando. I've been a Marlon Brando fan all my life. And some of the James Dean films as well. Yeah. Even the wonderful classic Japanese black and whites by Kurosawa.
Wow. Lovely stuff. Yeah.
You know, Yojimbo and all of that, and also some other Japanese directors who have done all these wonderful Japanese, samurai movie. I'm a big samurai movie fan. All those black and white ones. I've seen it all. Yeah. So, and they really influenced me a lot in terms of my acting. And when I got into script writing, I really go back and look at these old films and study the lines and the structure of the story and the relationship between the male and female actors, or the male and male actors, and so on and so forth, So I'm definitely a fan for black and white movies to begin with, but
white cinema is
also just amazing. Yes, and some other movies like The Heat by Robert De Niro and Michael, what's his name?
Michael Mann.
No, yeah, it was directed by Michael Mann, I think. Yes.
Robert De Niro,
Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, yes.
Yeah.
That movie was amazing in terms of script structure, which I'll come back to it. Also, another film I love was a series of 3 by, again, Robert De Niro was in it, and it slipped my mind. It's an Italian mafia movie. You will know what I'm talking about.
Godfather film.
Godfather, yes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Amazing. Why I love these films so much? Because of the story structure, because the way that the writer, relates to all these characters, big or small. Everybody, the bigger characters have a lot of scenes, smaller characters, maybe only one scene here, one scene there, and yet you see the beginning and then you see the result and how they affected everybody else's life. It's really a mirror of people's life, such as that one. It's about the mafia's world, and yet how the business affecting their personal life, and that's what makes it so real. And the acting was just amazing. Whether you are just the busboy, or you are the dancer, or you are the leading character, or you are, all the brothers, they played amazingly. Every brother in it played amazingly, or even just these little mafia characters getting their head chopped off or whatever. Amazing. It's a perfect movie in my mind. In terms of color movie wise, that is definitely a classic. And then if I go to The Heat, again, a classic. Why? Even Val Kilmer's character, remember, his character was not very big, but the writer was able to, have the male and female, the male lead, 2 male lead, and then their girlfriend and the wives and the children, and plus Val Kilmer has his own family, and how robbing a bank, right, affected everybody's life, and yet everybody died in the end. Only the 2 guys trying to, psych each other out. Again, the restaurant scene was classic, and then chasing in the airport was amazing.
That shootout sequence went on for about 20 minutes, and it was just astonishing, wasn't it?
Yeah, astonishing at every level, especially the scene when they exited the bank and they were running on the street, and the cops were chasing them with guns. Yeah. Oh my God, the way they recorded it, the sound wise, it was like bomb, bomb. It makes you feel like you're right there. Yeah. You're right there. You're one of the pedestrians. Where am I going to run? It's so real. So that's what I really have great respect for Hollywood movie making. When they make a movie like that.
When they do it right, they do it well. Michael Mann actually, yes. Almost like with your series Nasty Boys, prior to doing Heat, he was planning to do a TV show, and it was called LA Takedown. And LA Takedown was a TV film, and it is a precursor to Heat. I don't know if you've seen LA Takedown, but I think you'd enjoy that very much as well. Very similar.
I will go back and find it.
Look out for. Yeah. But I'm delighted to hear you say about Kurosawa. I think he's just excellent. And of course, Toshiro Mifune, who worked with him on, I think, like 16 films.
Yes.
To see, again, you do like a Toshiro Mifune type role, Seven Samurai, would be epic. It would
Amazing.
be fantastic. Could I ask you about some of the
Amazing.
films as well? You did, I think it was Kinjite with Charles Bronson.
Yes.
Do you remember working with Charles?
Charles, again, a gentleman, a very grounded gentleman. I think he just lost his wife when he did this film, I think. Or his wife was in hospital, I cannot remember, but he didn't talk much. But you could just tell from the way he talks to you and his eyes. He has a very kind eyes, you know. He always plays this tough guy. But you look into this man's eyes, you say, this guy is a very kind man.
Good. That's good.
That's the image he gave me. He's a kind man.
Good.
You know. Yeah. He's a very nice guy, easy to work with, Yeah.
Excellent. That's really good to hear, actually, because he was a big Hollywood star, and as you say, the difference between an actor and a star, that's really pleasing to hear. Also, I know that, I think from when we just briefly chatted, you mentioned about Bolo Yeung. Of course, again, another connection to Bruce Lee, and you appeared with him in the film Shoot Fighter. How was that experience for you, working with Bolo?
Oh, Bolo definitely is a character. Bolo is definitely a character. You think he's still back in the 80s with Bruce Lee. So you know what I'm saying.
It's larger than life, isn't it?
Yes, he's a character. I was lucky I didn't have to do any fighting. I was just in my nice suit, you know, making comments here and there. But yeah, Bolo was interesting. You know, he definitely has a good physique. He had a great start with Bruce. I think he was in one of the Bruce Lee movie. And then he did, because of his physique, he was able to do all these movies, you know.
He
Not
worked
so
with
much of his
Dr.
kung fu.
didn't he? Wow.
Yeah, he did, I recall. But he's definitely not a kung fu man. He's just,
okay.
But his
More power
physique
than Dr.
more of the look. Yeah. His look is good.
Yes, it is.
Right for that era. You know, like I said, Bruce went away. Jackie Chan was still struggling in Hong Kong, you know, becoming a star, and yet nobody is around. So Van Damme was there. Bolo Yeung worked with Bruce, so they brought him on. Good for him.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. Could I ask you about some of your Hong Kong productions as well? You made a film called Love Among the Triad with the great Simon Yan. How was it working with Simon Yan?
Simon and I had a pretty good relationship, actually. Good. One of the things I recall, if I'm not wrong, was that Simon came up to me one day. He said, James, I saw this Armani's fashion show and the promo reel in Armani shop. Was that you on the runway? I said, hey, yes, Simon, that was me. That was, you know, just a couple of years ago when I was in Europe. He said, how did you get that part? I said, well, you know, I was already doing film in Japan. They knew my name, so they brought me on. He said, James, can you introduce me to Armani? I want to be on that show. How did you get in there? Nobody in Hong Kong or Taiwan can go to Europe, and you just did it like that. I said, yeah, well, you know, they invited me. What can I say, right? That's one thing I remember. But Simon is a good guy. You know, he started out with TVB. He's a hardworking guy, I have to tell you. He's never stopped working. He's a PR man. He knows how to talk. He knows how to make you comfortable. That's why so many directors use him. You know, I was an outsider to Hong Kong, although my parents lived in Hong Kong for many years. They did their business there, but I was an outsider because I basically, you know, lived in New York. But when I entered the Hong Kong scene after Hollywood, I was considered an outsider, and I see myself as an outsider, although my Chinese Cantonese was very good. My first film was an unknown one. It's called I Want to Escape, okay, with a famous Hong Kong actor. We did quite well on that film. That was actually shot in China. And the second film was the big one, the Heroic Trio, if you know that movie, with three beautiful Chinese ladies. Yeah.
Love that film.
Very big movie, big budget and big cast. And because of Michelle, of course, the DVDs sold all over the world. And I played his boyfriend, the scientist, you know, that tried to help her and died in her arm. And Anthony Wong, you mentioned, was actually in the movie as well.
He was in the sequel, I think. Not so sure whether he was in with you.
I think he was in the first one. He was in the first one that I was always also in. He was the bad guy. He got kept in the cage. I remember.
I've forgotten him, but I remember you in the film, and it's one of my favourite films. Johnny To directed. You were excellent. The girls were lovely. It's a wonderful film. Anybody's not seen Heroic Trio, and the theme tune. Do you remember the theme tune for it? The whistling tune.
Something I cannot recall much of.
It stays in your head and you can't get it out in a good way. It's so
really
good.
Oh, yeah. I have to listen to it. Yeah. I have to.
But I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed your performance in it. I love that film.
That was again innovative because very few Hong Kong movies had heroines, and they had 3 heroines, you know. And we were just supporting actor. All the guys were supporting actor in it.
They were so good, the leading ladies, that all not just so attractive, but extremely agile. I mean, Michelle Yeoh, actually, a young Michelle Yeoh would have been superb for the live action Mulan. I think she would have been an excellent choice.
Well, to tell you a bit about Michelle, who was my longtime friend, you know, she actually, you know why she's so agile? Is because she was a dancer to begin with. She studied dancing in the UK, I don't know which school, had a degree in dance. Then he went back home to his hometown in Malaysia. Then he joined a beauty contest. I think he won the first place in one of the beauty contests. Then people said, you come to Hong Kong, maybe we can get you a job. So she went to Hong Kong, and immediately she landed a couple of roles playing the lady cop. That's how she became famous.
It was Michelle Khan back then, wasn't she, of course, as well? Rather than Michelle Yeoh, it was Michelle Khan,
Yeah, Michelle definitely did very well in Hong Kong because of her agility, of her dance ability. She transformed dance ability into the kung fu ability easily.
That's excellent story to know. I mean, she is fantastic, absolutely. And another connection to the Hong Kong cinema as well. Sammo Hung, of course, you worked with on Martial Law. How was that for you? That must have been an incredible experience working with Sammo Hung, the great Sammo Hung.
Well,
no.
Ultimate is definitely Bruce, nobody else.
Oh, sure, without question.
Sammo, I think, no, I don't want to comment too much about Sammo. Sorry.
That's okay. That's a shame.
I work with him. I know. I got to know. I know his wife a little bit, but you know, no, he's not my favorite character. I'm being very straightforward.
Yeah, that's okay. Are there any other memories from the Japanese and Hong Kong film studios and working on sets that bring back good memories for you?
It probably would take me a few days to go back to think about that.
How was between filmmaking in Hong Kong and America for you, though? Which did you prefer?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Definitely Hollywood. Nothing like working in Hollywood. You know why? Because they have this incredible union. They call it the Guild.
Yeah.
They really give respect to everyone in the business, whether you are a extra or whether you are a electrician or whether you're a cameraman or whether you're an actor. Everybody is well treated, well respected. We have lunch. There's a big truck comes in with lunch, and the table spread out to 3 tables of food, and you can have anything you want. You know, we used to say, instead of sitting at home, I'd rather go work as an extra, so at least I can get a good lunch. And that is the truth. Catering was amazing. Excellent. That's one thing. When you are a leading actor or you are a guest star, you get your own trailer. Not the entire trailer, but you get your own little room. But still, enough room to turn around, your private bathroom, and you can hang up your coat. Yeah. Hong Kong, you sit on the floor and have your lunchbox.
Yeah.
Because Hong Kong budget cannot compare with Hollywood. Okay. They don't have a chair for you. When you are a star, you have your own chair with James Pax's name on the back of the chair. In Hong Kong, you bring your own chair or you sit on the floor. But you know what? It's different, but I still have a lot of fun working in Hong Kong, I must say. You know,
Yeah, good.
It's a different way of making movies. Very crude, but very original in its own way, I have to say. And Hong Kong has a lot of wonderful actors, I must say. You know what? TVB, the TV station really trained these actors well. Every day they are playing in the TV series and shooting TV series. So when they get on the movie, they gotta be good.
Yeah.
Very good actors. Many.
小雷，見到嘢嗎？
I'm a doctor. I take care of you. Please excuse me. I have never seen a black man before, not this close. I've read about your people. Let me show you. Do you know this man?
We ain't personal friends, but I seen that book.
He is a very interesting man. Lately, I've been trying to learn about your people. You are oppressed in your country. But I'm curious, why do you fight for the system that holds you down?
So they drafted my sorry behind.
Drafted?
Sort of like legal slavery.
Yes, exactly. And that is an irony of this war that I will never understand. How a lumpen proletariat, descendant of the slaves, can be induced to give up their lives to protect the capital of the ruling class.
You some kind of communist or something?
Yes, since 1952.
Damn. I don't think I ever talked to a real communist before.
Nor have I ever spoken to a black American.
Really?
We have much to learn from each other.
He wants me again, huh? Look, I'm just a private. I don't know nothing to tell him.
Be sick. Close your eyes. Be sick.
快啲到集運。
我濕住，代務捉攞寫緊嚟。
抬晒到嚟。
I told him you're near death and cannot be questioned now.
Thanks, Doc. What, do you think you gophers or something?
Yes, that is us. The tunnels are one of the means by which we will win this war. Your generals have not yet even begun to understand their importance.
Tell me something. Why you want to fight America anyway?
For the same reason we fought the Japanese when they occupied during the Second World War, and the French when they occupied later. Vietnam is our country, our land. Our business is our business. And you are a foreign power who have no business in our affairs. But enough of that. You were telling me about...
I was telling you about the Black Dap. Put your hand up here. It's real simple. Only gets complicated when white folks try to do it. Hey, Doc.
I miss the sun.
Hold it. That dude told you to kill me, right?
He has no choice.
Okay. He might didn't have a choice. But you got a choice right now.
Don't move.
Let me live. Please. You can let me go right now, Doc. You ain't got to do this. You'll never know. I can just take right off.
Come, 對咁提醒我。
等到未？
等我。
睇緊咩？
等我。
You're quite the pro, kid. Did a hell of a job on Shenway today. It was easy switching those rocks.
I wonder if this rock of his is real. Who knows? Maybe I really am the wish child.
Yeah, maybe you are like that. Just gotta keep it going a little while longer. Sit tight. How did you handle the MacGyver guy?
He shipped out to New Zealand.
Nice touch. No body, no cops, no noise. Diplomatic. Lock, stock, and phony rock. Kid was great. Mr. Lee made contact. He's interested. I'll meet him, set up a deal, we'll have the money, and be rid of the kid.
How?
He won't be coming back. Got something special for you, kid?
Whoa!
I told you, good things are coming. Rich things.
Yeah. Wait till Lisa sees the karate studio I'm gonna buy her. She'll stop thinking I'm some kind of loser.
Hey, everybody's gonna respect you, Paul. Everybody. You are the wish child.
You know, sometimes I think, maybe what if I was?
Both know you're special, Paul. That's why it's gonna be great from now on, right? He does that. He's done it to me dozens of times. Just dozes off in mid-sentence. And he snores. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, try some.
Oh, thanks. I'm kind of hoping that you can help me and my client out here, Dr. Lou.
Wish I could. I like Irwin. But I'm afraid I was in here working when Vincent was killed. I'm no help at all.
Here's good.
Made them myself. The ultimate junk food. No salt, no fat, no sugar, no calories, and no food value.
What's in them?
Not much.
Tastes good.
If the Food and Drug Administration weren't so hysterical about possible health risks, I would have had them on the market years ago. Here, have some more. Guess I can't offer you a cup of coffee.
Mr. Chow, I didn't even hear you come up.
Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
I know, it's my fault. I was a million miles away.
Helen Lee tells me you're investigating the death of Steve Burkall.
Yeah, we are.
I knew him. Actually, I just recently met him.
What were you doing with Steve?
It's a secret. I can only tell those who I trust.
Well, he's more trustworthy than a cop.
Steve Burkall was a cop.
You know, it's not a good day for playing games, so I think that maybe we should talk about this inside the PD.
Yes, we could. Or we can do this over dinner. Either way, I'll tell you what I know.
Are you hitting on me?
Yes.
Cass?
You're early.
Yeah, it's a habit.
Thank you for coming.
Bad experience in a department store?
Oh, I'm proud to be a 4th degree black belt. As you'll see, requires diligent training.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me for a moment.
Sure.
Based on real-life cops, Friday's just got a whole lot nastier.
This ain't legal!
Nasty Boys, the series, premieres Friday.
Oh, you nasty boy.
much you want to bet Krieger ghost wrote this stuff about the guy's kinky thing with the rifles?
That's pretty deep for the LT.
Who the hell is LT?
Who is this Chanel Corey with all the answers, anyway?
Well, she ain't one of the department shrinks. Hey, whoa. You better be cool, Morrissey. That's like opening U.S. mail, man.
Well, neither rain nor the dark of night deters LT from his Thursday meeting with the mysterious Chanel Corey.
So, he's talking to his source.
Yeah. Every week, according to this.
So what?
Hey, I'm just giving you the facts.
Yeah, we'll present him outside the cage.
For assault.
Pounded a homeboy into the pavement in front of his house.
I just found out Dwyer's got a restricted driver's license. Night blindness.
Which makes him one of two things. Either he's a very lucky shot, or he's innocent.
Culver and Gannon.
What color cars?
Beige 84 Chevy White Escort.
Gotta hand it to you, LT. Dwyer's was navy blue. All right, tail him. Larson and Wheeler on Gannon. Key and Cruz, you take Culver.
I've got a meeting with Crush. Look, he wants to take the turn.
I said play along. What the hell are you guys talking about? Oh, Larson's found some homeboy with a heart of gold.
Look, Crush wants out of the scene. I'm asking him to trust me, and I've got to trust him in return.
Yeah, right. Larson, look. The number one rule in the sets is loyalty, right? You think he's gonna toss it to you? No way.
He already has by talking to me.
Well, the number one rule in narc work is don't blow your cover.
Look, you don't know this guy.
Oh, come on. Nobody knows anybody, Larson.
同志，请你转告那位大夫，说我们欢迎他到解放区来。好，这就是那位大夫。对，就是这位。欢迎你。
What's going on?
We're entering the liberated region, Doctor.
What is it?
飞机。It's an aircraft, Doctor.
Japanese?
谁的飞机啊？国民党的。It's nationalists. They're looking for Japanese. Although sometimes they appear to be surveying us. You are lucky to have salvaged anything from the train, Doctor.
Do we reach shore? How much further will it be, Mr. Tom?
About 1,500 miles.
You've been in this line of work a long time.
I'm not an interpreter by profession, Doctor. I'm an economist. I've only been asked to accompany you to the 8th Army headquarters in Yan'an, where I will receive another assignment. It will be a relief to get out of this nationalist uniform. This is Chairman Mao.
欢迎欢迎，白大夫。
Chairman, welcome you, Doctor.
啊，长途跋涉，一路辛苦了。
You've had a long journey, Doctor.
The long march was a long journey. Long and difficult and great. I want you to tell me how I can best serve the 8th Army.
啊，有1300万人口，八路军和游击队员还不到10万人呢。
This is the border region of Chinchachi. There are 30 million people with less than 100,000 of 8th Army and armed partisans.
他们被日本人四面包围着，在所有反法西斯战场上伤亡追踪啊。
Our main guerrilla activities are conducted from the Wutai Mountains, northeast of Peking, over 1,000 miles from here.
How many hospitals?
他说这个地区有多少医院呢？
几乎没有。
There are only a few.
Chairman Mao appoints you medical advisor to the 8th Army, in charge of all hospitals and medical units in the liberated areas. We are like fish in the ocean of the people. To defeat us, the Japanese will have to destroy the entire ocean, and that they'll never be able to do.
And when the Japanese are defeated?
他说那打败了日本帝国主义以后呢？
那个时候，我们将集中精力，建设一个更加美好的世界。
Then we'll turn all our energies into building a better world.
I'm into that.
他说那就为此而祈祷了。
哦，对一个马克思主义者来说，你这是一种奇怪的说法呀！啊
What a curious expression for Marxist revolutionary.
What did I say?
Amen to that.
Oh, my mother is a missionary.
他说因为他母亲是个传教士。
难道我们不都是吗
？Aren't we all?
A decade after ascending the throne, King Ying-Jen fights for his life and for a dream to forge a new nation, China. Many great kings before him have tried, and all have failed. But this time will be different. Because Ying-Jen is different. The youngest king to lead his nation into war. He is its greatest warrior. A visionary leader burning with ambition. If anyone can unify China, it is him. The Qin army has taken over 10,000 prisoners. The rules of war are explicit. Prisoners must be cared for.
And the day is yours! And this is yours!
But that would slow down his campaign.
You want to know what to do with it? There's only one way to treat weakness, and that is to exploit it. There's only one way for Qin to survive, and that is to conquer.
What is it? The royal seals are missing, Majesty. The ones used by military commanders. I strongly recommend that we put all palace and regional forces on high alert. Really? Lao Hai has disappeared. It seems he may have taken the seals. If he is able to mobilize troops, the state could be at risk. Why would he do that? Why would the Marquis threaten us? What could he hope to achieve? I don't know, Majesty.
What would a eunuch do with the throne? Even if he had it, who on earth would he leave it to?
Eunuchs don't have successors, do they, Lu Buwei?
Except, of course, this one does. Two pretenders to the throne, courtesy of my mother. Some eunuch. I thought years ago he was castrated on your orders, I believe.